Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Big Brother We again. So I just want to go ahead and talk about, interracial relationships and how to cope with it in society. Well, I'm going to tell you guys a little story about what happened to me when I was involved in my first relationship ever, and it was an interracial one. Well, the thing is that when I picked my ex up, well, she's my ex-girlfriend anyway. When I picked my girlfriend at the time up, and we went to Winn-Dixie over in the where we live at, where I live at, and I can tell you right now, Louisiana, it's where we live at is a pretty rural area, and for the most part, and of course the neighborhood I live in is more of a suburban one in the process, middle class neighborhood. Well, the thing is that when both of us walked to Winn-Dixie together, went to a grocery store together, we wanted to pick up some good. We had to pick up some goodies that basically just for the hell of it, and it was over the summer. And around the time over the summer, watermelon has been, is pretty much in. And of course, I love watermelon. I mean, sure, there's a stereotype behind it, but you know what? Fuck it. Well, the thing is that when both of us walked together in the grocery area, it was actually pretty cute. It was actually pretty interesting to actually be with her and actually do some grocery shopping together, so to speak. Well, the thing about it is that there is, people tend to stare often when you see people like me and her together, two different shades of sorts. And ironically, we're picking a watermelon, so of course some people might find it very amusing, but hey, that's all entertainment, right? Well, when we were getting ready to get out the checkout counter, there were some family. There were a lot of people that were staring. Not just white people, but also black people. Um, Many of them were looking at both of us. A lot of them smiled in our direction. A lot of them kind of looked at us kind of weird. But, the thing about it is, what I'm trying to get at is that, people just tend to look at things that they are not very, very familiar with. And I think that some people are just a little too surprised to see certain things like that to come into fruition or being noticeable. And ironically, you see a lot of it nowadays. But the thing about it is what to do in society if you're involved in an interracial relationship where you're interracially dating with somebody. What do you do to cope with it? That's the big question. Well, the thing is that don't let society become a major crux on your end, and don't let it become a major fear. Don't let their stigmatism become your crux or your fear. Do you know why? Because they want you to feel that pressure to just don't readjust or don't push yourself into a socially progressive structure or socially progressive ideology, and instead embrace what's being the status quo. And of course, you're going to get a bunch of negative people, but the question is, are you going to let them scare you? No. Instead, why don't you look back at them and, depending on what your attitude is, either give them a big smile on the face and let them know, hey, I'm just a human being just like you and me, and so is she. We are all part of the same species. We all have the ability to procreate, and we have the ability to think in a very complex manner, just like everyone else. And it's probably one of the few things that people just tend to not really take into consideration. And because of that, we have people who are completely oblivious or ignorant about it as a whole. Of course, they believe that just because they were raised that way mean they have to follow it. But for some reason, I think there's a lot to do with stupidity. Well, the thing about it is, to cope with society, just don't let it bother you. Live your life, live it well, and just be happy. As long as you're happy with that special someone, and they tend to be a little bit different than what society expects you to be part of, just ensure one thing. It's no different. Because in the end, you're just basically one thing. You're a human being. That's the only race that really matters. And anybody else that would disagree with you right there, what they need to do is actually educate themselves first before they make another stupid statement like that again. This is Big Brother We, giving you my 2 cents, and more videos will follow. May the gift of reason light our way.